Hi, I'm Michael LaFosse from the Origami Do Studio, and this is the traditional Japanese origami lily. It's also sometimes called an iris, and it's folded appropriately from the lily base. And I want you to see the corresponding features here. We have 4 long petals, and those correspond to the lily base's 4 long pointed flaps. And then in between those petals there are shorter pointed forms, and those evolve from these petal folds, shorter ones. It's folded from an uncut square, and we're going to learn how to fold this beautiful model. You're going to need a square sheet of paper, and if you're using origami paper, begin with the colored side up. Let's valley fold in half, corner to corner, bottom corner to top. Remember, always rotate your paper so you're moving paper away from you. It'll be more comfortable and you'll be able to control your view of the paper much better. Open the paper now and rotate 90 degrees so that the crease runs vertically. Take the bottom corner up to the top corner. What we're doing now is we're putting in a new crease by bringing the other 2 corners together. And unfold. You can adjust this lesson by using your pause and play at any time you need to do that. Now we're going to turn the paper over, have it square shaped, white side up, bottom edge to top. And unfold. There's a valley crease, it's horizontal. Let's rotate that 90 degrees so the crease is vertical. And now we're going to bring the other 2 edges together. Bottom edge up to the top edge. And unfold. So we have alternating mountain and valley creases which run from the center. Mountain creases go to the corner on the inside. Valley creases go to the middle of the edges on the inside. Next step, blint space. Rotate the paper diamond-wise. The center, where all the creases intersect, is our target. Take the bottom corner and fold it up to the center, holding before folding, and valley fold. Always rotate the paper for a blint so you have a fresh corner at the bottom, and the reason being that you'll be able to adjust your view much better and it's more comfortable for you to move the paper away. You'll have better control. And our 3rd corner to the center, and the last corner. In English, in origami, again, this is called a blintz base or a blintz fold, when 4 corners of a square meet at the center. Now we unfold the blintz. Those creases will be useful later on when we're doing our petal folding, and you'll see when that happens. Notice that these creases make square cornered creases at the middle of each edge of the paper. You can see that pointed part. These will be the long petals, these will be the in-between shorter petals. We need to transform this into a preliminary base now, and we're going to do that by collapsing the shape. Notice that I've broken the center where the creases meet so that every line segment from the center to a corner or from the center to an edge is separate and can function independently of the others. Let's bring these 2 side corners down to the bottom and then flatten the layer on top. And this is a preliminary base. It's a very common form. It leads to other bases, which is why it's called preliminary. We're going to take each of the triangle flaps, there are 4 of them, and squash fold them. A squash fold is when a double or multiple layer flap is opened in the middle and flattened from vertical to horizontal. I'm going to show you the pre-creasing method first. Find the folded edge of the flap and fold it to match the crease that you can see here. I'm going to turn the paper for comfort. Here's my folded edge. My crease is horizontal now, and I'm folding away from me. Make a nice, accurate, sharp crease. The crease that we're making right here, and you can see it when I open it there, will become the outline of the top part of the perimeter of our squashed shape. Let's do the squash fold now that we have the guiding crease. Stand the triangle flap up, find its opened edge, open it like a cone, all the way to the point at the back. And then be aware of these layers that can separate where the split is. You don't want them moving away from each other, so hold them together tightly on the table. Now we can take this spine crease, the top mountain crease of our squash, and align it with the center as we flatten down. See how that is aligned. And look what happened at the perimeter. Those pre-creases helped us to make a nice isosceles triangular shape here. Now we're going to do other pre-creases as opportunity presents itself, and that is now. Before we do any other squashes, we're going to take these short raw edges of paper and fold them to align with the center split. So here's our first pre-crease going on from the cut edge or raw edge being moved to the split. Make a nice point and fold. Good sharp crease. Let's rotate the paper so we can move the opposite one to the same area. Go very close to the folded edge in the split. Don't go past it by any means. And the thicker the paper you use, you may want to leave a little bit of a gap. Okay, so we've moved those two edges in and we're going to unfold them now. What we want are these creases, and they're going to help us later on when we petal fold the big points on the petal, large petals of the flower. Okay, now turn the paper over to the other side and find the collection of two flaps. There'll be two together on one side, one on the other. And take the topmost one to squash fold. Let's see what a squash fold is like when we do not use the pre-crease. It's a good skill builder. Simply stand the flap up, open it like a cone, keep the split edges close together, find your spine crease, gradually bring it down flat and into alignment, and then simply flatten the perimeter folding. That's a direct squash, no pre-creasing used. Here's our pre-creasing opportunity for petal folding, and we're going to take that now. Once again, the cut edges get folded to the split, one from each side. Good sharp creases. Pre-creasing really should always have very sharp creases. It'll help the automatic folding happen more easily later on. So now we open those. So we've done our front and back squashes and our pre-creasing for petals. And here we have these other two flaps we need to get to. That's done by turning pages. Let's take this right half of the kite shape and bring it over to the left, just like turning a page in a book. Here's our third flap to squash. We can stand it straight up, open like a cone, and squash. Now that we've got that, don't forget to pre-crease because it's handy right now. You could do all of your techniques individually and then go back and catch all your pre-creases later on, but it's not as efficient. It involves a lot more handling. And unfold. Pre-creasing done. Flip the paper over to the other side, and we need to get to this last flap. So it's like turning a page of a book from the right to the left. Always flatten well after you've done that. And here's our last flap to squash. Open like a cone and squash. And don't forget to do the pre-creasing. And unfold. When we did that blintz fold in the earlier stages, we created these creases here, these mountain creases on the colored side, and they make a pointed shape here. In the frog base, we do this, which moves that pointed flap towards the middle of the paper, opposite the other ends. For the lily, we want that staying pointing that way, towards the split ends where the petals are. And to preserve that and to be efficient, we're going to petal fold from the kite sides. That means to turn one page from the right to the left, we have a nice solid kite. I like to turn the paper over to the other side and do that same maneuver immediately after, from right to left. Here's the reason why. When I turned pages on the other side, I made an odd number of pages on each side. But when I turned it over and repeated the step, everything became even again. 4 flaps on the right, 4 on the left. Because everything's balanced, it's going to be more stable for your work. Now we can do a nice petal fold. Look at our pre-creasing we've done. Look at this little horizontal hinge here. What you're going to do is observe this triangle shape and keep that flat. You can turn the paper sideways, holding it with one hand, and then lift the free corner, the top corner, with the other. See the hinge? Right here where the mountain crease stops at the bottom there. And this mountain crease stops at the bottom there. Imagine a hinge spanning those 2 points. Keep everything flat outside of the hinge. Move this flap up, and as you do that, start to bring the sides in. And you can see that all of the pre-creasing you've done, from the blintz fold to those short raw edge creases, lets you take this shape almost automatically. Now you have a petal. That's a petal fold, and there's a petal. Bring it back to the end that it came from. That's a petal fold. Let's turn the paper over to the other side and make the other one there. Keep flat, lift up, move the sides over. The paper will feel as if it wants to take that shape automatically. And back over. We have to petal fold these other 2 areas, and that's done by turning pages right to left, right to left. There's a kite. Turn the paper over to the other side. Look at this. I only have 2. I've got a big bunch over here, so let's even it out. Here we have this rhombus. Go right to left. And then once more right to left. There's your other kite. And set it up. I'm right-handed, so that means that my left hand is not as dexterous or skillful. I use my left hand as my holding hand, my right hand as my action hand. If you're left-handed, you'll want to do things this way perhaps. Your holding hand is your right, and your folding hand is your left, and it would look like this. And petal fold, there we go. Let's turn the paper over to the other side. I'm going to do it as if I were left-handed again. Holding with my less dexterous hand and with my more skillful hand. Activating the petal fold and going back over. There we have it. Now, you can see in between the long petals, we have those short petals, and everything is pointing towards the same end. That is the significance of the lily base. We do not want to make the petals any skinnier. We want to make the trumpet skinnier. The trumpet goes from here down to what was the center of the paper. And we skinny paper by folding edges to the center. I'm going to take the trumpet end edge and fold it to the center crease. I'm going to rotate the paper so that I have a comfortable handle on this. Again, it's the trumpet end edge to the center crease. Notice that I did not make my petal skinny. It still is wide. Let's flip the paper over to the other side. Trumpet end edge to the center crease. And its opposite partner meets there. So I've done front and back. Again, to get to the others in the middle, it's turning pages, right to left, right to left. Turn the whole thing over so that you can make the layers symmetrically even again. Right to left, right to left. There we have our rhombus shapes, and we have to find the trumpet end. The trumpet end edges go to the center. This is such a graceful model. It's so clean in its folding design, and it employs that petal folding 4 times. So it's a really good skill builder. It doesn't really take a lot of time to make one of these lilies once you know how to make them, and making many of them will really improve all of your basic folding skills. So the trumpet is skinny, and we have the petals separate. Before we open the flower, we're going to separate the petals from the trumpet by folding. So I'm going to take this big petal in front and fold it straight down as far as it will go flat. There are natural stopping involvements on these sides here. Turn the paper over to the other side and do the same thing. And you can get inside by doing this. And find the others. Down, and turn, and down. In the diagrams, I had you fold these petals down as you skinnied the trumpet. Either way is fine. I wanted you to appreciate both versions of that kind of folding. You can do things, creatively out of order as long as you effectively get there. I'm going to open the trumpet by squaring up these junctions between the sets of flaps, and then bring out all the petals, and the box-shaped trumpet will open. Now we make it more graceful with a few curving shapes. You could use a pencil, a chopstick, anything you want that you could just simply do this type of curling with, like curling ribbon. Or you could roll each petal around a cylindrical form like that. And if you don't have a tool, you certainly can curl the paper with your fingers and thumb. This kind of action. Whichever method you choose, you want to employ a touch of gracefulness there because it is a flower, and you also want to show the contrast between curved folded planes and flat folded planes. That's one of the intrinsic beauties of this model, is the contrast. The traditional Japanese origami lily.